In the year 1959-60, accompanied by Khampa bodyguards, a Tibetan monk gave a heavy chest containing an idol to CIA officials for safekeeping at Lo Monthang, called Mustang, in CIA files. The monk apparently related the importance of the chest and its contents to the CIA officials. A curious CIA official precisely noted down the details of the chest and its contents as the Buddhist monk told them. No one can guess why he thought it's important to note down the Buddhist monk's story. At that time, the Americans were not quite impressed with the unusual values attached to objects of East Asian worship when their priority was conducting a guerrilla war against the Chinese forces advancing into Tibet. Later in the same week in which the CIA officials received the chest, a fight erupted with Chinese forces in which the Tibetan monk and his guards were killed. The CIA officials did not know what to do with the curious chest, so they loaded it onto an aircraft and sent it to a secret air base in India. Later, they transported it to Camp Hale near Vail, Colorado. A few weeks later, the chest ended up at CIA's storeroom in Washington, D.C., labeled ST Circus Mustang 0183. Before someone in the CIA decided to take an interest in the chest, a strange manuscript was found inside. The unusually age-worn chest, with its remarkably unique design, made them conduct a radiocarbon test of the timber with which the chest was made. The result given to them by the University of California Radiation Laboratory, Berkeley, stunned the CIA officials. The antiquity of the worn-out wooden chest and the idol was mind-blowing to say the least. It did not belong to this yuga on the Hindu time scale, just as the monk had said. It belonged to a period called 𝖵Α𝗒ι𝖺, making it the oldest human artifact in existence. Radiocarbon dating conducted by the University of California Radiation Laboratory on the heavy 9-inch thick timber sides and the lid of the chest in which it was discovered arrived at readings that indicated a period around 26,450 BCE. That would make it over 28,450 years old today, and about 23,000 years older than the legendary Hindu Kurukshetra war described in Mahabharata. The tests conducted by experts concluded that it was the oldest Hindu idol in existence. None of the known ancient excavated civilizations of history, Egyptian, Mesopotamian, or Indus Valley, existed before 6,000 years ago. The contents of the chest included a manuscript written on wooden slots and the small brass-like crude metal idol. The old pre-Rigvedic Sanskrit-type manuscript was translated by the CIA with difficulty. In fact, it took 2 long years to decipher, employing experts, including some Indian and Nepalese. They concluded that the language belonged to the proto-historic period of Hinduism, when it was thought no language existed and that the Vedas were being passed down orally. The manuscript appeared to be something similar to Sanskrit, but not quite anything any archaeologist or historian had ever seen before. The manuscript mentioned the name of the idol Kalp Maha Ayusham Rasayana Vigraha, abbreviated in CIA files to Kalpa Vigraha. The Kalpa Vigraha is a small crude brass idol weighing about 47.10 grams, depicting a deity resembling the Hindu god Shiva seated on one knee, a serpent's hood forming a canopy above the head of the idol. In the right hand of the figure was a circular weapon, perhaps the Sudarshan Chakra. Around its neck was a string of beads. The metal formed 3 loops on one side, caused by the snake, an arm holding a conch shell, and the discus. It measured about 5.3 centimeters tall and about 4.5 centimeters wide, with an oval base 2.5 centimeters long and 1.7 centimeters wide. There was no doubt the small statue was of extreme importance that it have been preserved with such care in a chest of such strength and durability. But following the translation of the manuscript, events surrounding the Kalpa Vigraha suddenly took a strange turn. ST Circus Mustang 0183 was removed from the CIA storehouse records, and the whole thing was swept under the carpet for some mysterious reason. retired CIA agent revealed that a series of top-secret experiments were conducted by the CIA. According to this unnamed source in Langley, Virginia, an inner circle of the CIA dedicated most of their time in the early 1960s conducting experiments based on the ancient manuscript. The source, who was partially involved in the research, explained that one of the experiments was particularly intriguing. It required a human subject to consume a tumbler of water each day for 3 days. This water was earlier charged by CIA agents by simply placing the idol in a large copper vessel containing drinking water for 9 days before the human subject was required to drink it. What results the inner circle officials expected to see by this experiment was not known to anybody at that time. But top CIA officials evinced great interest in it. The charged water was also sent to various laboratories under heavy security, and all reports and documents received from the labs were sent directly to the director of the CIA. He also recalled that during this period, a number of packages containing literature on homeopathy and Ayurveda were received from various parts of the globe and often circulated in the department with markings and footnotes. Except the inner circle, nobody knew what this was all about. A month later, the source was asked to head a 9-member team consisting mostly of women whose sole task was to feed this water to unsuspecting citizens in the US. They called themselves the watering team. It was not known to the watering team whether the subjects to whom the water was to be fed were randomly chosen by the inner circle officials, but they were of all ages, some in their teens, some in past their middle ages, and many above the age of 60 or 75 at least. Detailed instructions were handed out as to how they were to go about the watering. Later, the team came to know that all the subjects were born Americans, both black and white, from various walks of life. Many were African American women. The watering had to be done without the subjects' knowledge by befriending them and to get them to consume a glass of water for 3 consecutive days in a row. The team often failed. Soon after the watering experiments were completed, the assignment was abruptly called off. The inner circle members were sent for more pressing assignments around the US and the world. The reason for the bizarre experiment was never revealed. Neither were the results ever known. Over time, it was quite forgotten. A recent long-distance telephone call from another state in the US on the morning of December 2008 changed everything. The source, now long retired, was unexpectedly informed one night by another retired agent of the CIA that the Kalpa Vigraha was missing. The agent who made the call was once a member of the inner circle who knew about the experiments conducted in the early 1960s was all about. The CIA had been keeping a watch over almost all test subjects around the globe and monitoring their lives in secrecy. There was not much to monitor, really. CIA's Kalpa Vigraha cell's job was, and still continues to be, to report back if a recipient of the charged water was alive. The reason? All persons subjected to the Kalpa Vigraha experiment were expected to live very long lives, past the age of 100 at least, perhaps crossing 110, and even reaching the age of 120. This does not include those who died unnatural deaths in road accidents or other mishaps, murder, suicide, accidental poisoning, or dying in conflicts or war. The loss of the Kalpa Vigraha. Kalpa Vigraha was not seen or heard of for many decades. An audit conducted in 1996 revealed that the heavy metal-lined chest was in the store, but that the idol and the manuscript had been misplaced. In a search conducted over many weeks spanning many states and inquiries made from many retired personnel, the agency was able to trace the manuscript from the house of a microbiologist the CIA had hired for analysis of the charged Kalpa Vigraha water many years ago. The manuscript was found, but the whereabouts of the Kalpa Vigraha is still a mystery.